Okay, thank you. The Ursi case. Ci sono ancora io? Okay.
I'm still here.
Ok, il caso di Antonio Ursi è uno dei più importanti casi di questo tempo.
The case Urzi is one of the most important of our times.
È un caso che abbiamo investigato assieme a Jaime Maussan.
We have investigated this case with the cooperation of Jaime Musan
E un altro amico che sta in Italia si chiama Giorgio Bongiovanni.
and another friend who is in Italy, Giorgio Bongiovanni.
Nell'esperienza di Antonio è molto importante anche il ruolo di sua moglie Simona Sibilla.
Okay. In the experience of Antonio, there's also a very important part played by Antonio's wife, Simona.
E questo è Antonio Ursi.
This is Antonio Urzi.
Buonasera a tutti.
Good evening to everybody.
Un ringraziamento speciale al Ministro
A special thanks to you, Minister,
che ci ha permesso di essere qua davanti a voi oggi
that very kindly allow us to be in front of all of you today here
e di condividere con voi tutti con amore questa realtà fantastica.
and to share with love with all of you this extraordinary reality.
E grazie al coraggio e all'amore che oggi ci ha permesso di parlare a tutti voi di questa mia fantastica esperienza che ho con questi esseri.
Okay, and thanks to the courage and the willingness to let me talk about my experience here today with you, which I'm glad to share.
Cominciamo con i filmati.
We're gonna start now with the video.
In questo caso io vivo questa esperienza da quando sono piccolo.
I live this kind of experiences. I was very young.
Mi ha accompagnato tutta la vita fino ad oggi.
It has been with me through all my life up to today.
Ho un rapporto piuttosto intimo con questi esseri.
I have a very intimate relationship with these beings.
E posso dire che la mia missione oggi è quella di dare testimonianza
My mission today is to offer you a testimony
della loro realtà.
of their reality.
E ho scoperto e ho saputo che questi esseri sono gli stessi
And I found out and know that all these people are the same
che hanno accompagnato tutti i profeti della storia dell'umanità. I profeti.
okay, that they accompany all the prophets in the history of humanity.
Questi esseri sono gli stessi che hanno accompagnato l'ultimo dei profeti.
These beings are also the same that accompany the last of the prophets,
Il profeta Gesù.
the Jesus prophet.
Questi esseri che io considero la milizia celeste
This being that I consider the celestial militia
hanno come unica arma l'amore. Hanno come unica arma l'amore.
they have as only weapon love.
E sono pronti a contattare questa umanità che è cieca e sorda.
Okay. And they are ready to get in touch to contact the humanity that is blind and deaf.
Penso che da qua a breve tempo,
And so I believe that from now till not so long ahead in the future,
questi esseri si manifesteranno in tutti i luoghi del mondo.
All these beings will show in all the corner of the world at one point.
E grazie a queste manifestazioni possiamo prendere coscienza della loro realtà.
And thanks to them showing themselves to us, we will be finally take a good grasp to the reality of the fact.
Lì, C'è? Oh,
vabbè.
c'è?
C'è?
Sì, quelli dell'anno scorso.
No.
Guardalo.
Bello, Anto.
Beh, zitta, piano.
Prendi i punti di riferimento.
Punti di riferimento, punti di riferimento.
Che bello, caro.
Beh, ferma, aspetta.
È un momento
Aspetta.
di panico perché avevo lo
Ecco, aspetta, guarda.
No,
Guarda da vicino, corri.
no. Ma quanto è grande?
Corri,
While I
vai giù a
was
sentire-
filming
vai
the
giù dalla nonna,
object
corri.
ahead of me, I was talking to
Corri.
my wife and I said a bad word.
Se ne
That's
va.
why, because I was in surprise.
Chiaro, perché davanti a un oggetto di 15
Se ne va,
metri
se ne va, se ne va.
la tensione è altissima.
Okay, as you can imagine, finding myself in front of a 15 meters large object, the surprise is astounding, and so I was taken by surprise.
Con questo voglio concludere. Un ringraziamento a tutti voi che dimostrate l'amore per la vita.
Okay, and with this, I would like to end by thanking all of you who are showing so much for life, so much love for life.
E un ringraziamento speciale anche a Jaime Maussan che anche con la sua organizzazione ci ha dato la possibilità di condividere con tutti voi le nostre
And thanks to Jaime
esperienze.
Massan that gave us the opportunity to share with all of you this experience and this information.
Grazie a tutti.
Thanks to all of you.
Un bacio nel cuore.
This next expert, Dr. Roger Lear, is the foremost scientist in the field of abductions and implants, what is left inside many of the witnesses. His findings are absolutely revolutionary and could change our science in the very near future. Dr. Roger Lear.
Thank you, Jaime. I'm very emotionally humbled to receive an invitation to be here with you and honored to be able to address this group with some scientific material. In a meeting earlier today with Minister Farrakhan, he asked our permission that if it was all right with us researchers to help present this material to the world. And I am humbled by that also, and I think that this meeting is going to be historic, as my other colleagues have talked about. Thank you. Now, my work has to do with the relationship of our space brothers and sisters and their relationship with human beings on this planet. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on all over the world. And that is the abduction phenomena in general. How many of you have seen a UFO? Quite a few. How many know what abduction is about? How many think they've been abducted and never brought back? I just wanted to see if you were awake. I'm going to be showing some material that is the actual surgery that has gone on that we have performed on individuals for the removal of objects from people who have been abducted. We feel about 15% of the abductee population might have an object in their body. Once this object is removed, it's studied, sent to scientific laboratories, and we get the results, and then I supply that to the public at large because the information belongs to every man, woman, and child on this planet. And this also involves the cover-up, and it's got to stop. The cover-up is worldwide. It's got to stop. Now, we're going to start by telling you a little bit about what goes on during abduction. With abductions, the individuals, humans, are taken aboard a ship. Sometimes the experimentation goes on without bringing the individual aboard a ship. And when they're on the ship, they're sometimes examined as we would examine other entities or life forms on our own planet. And once this is done, and whatever is done to them, they are returned. And if it goes the way it's supposed to go, you're not supposed to remember. But this is the relationship between those space brothers and sisters who are highly advanced in both technology and age, coming here to do whatever job it is. Now, anyone who tells you they have the total answers, you should not listen to. This is a very complex subject, and no one has the total answers. And as I stated, about 15% of these individuals might wind up with an object. And what do? I think they monitor certain changes that have gone on with human beings on this planet because, as you know, the planet is poisoned. The water is no good. The food is no good. Our air is poisoned. This got to stop. And space brothers and sisters who come here in actual vehicles, I think, have an interest in us and are developing this relationship, but on a stealth way. They can't come down because perhaps an interference or a direct interference in mankind would cause a panic. But as the human being changes and evolves and we become closer to their level, then it's time, and I believe that time is very, very close. Now, in relationship, again, to the specificities of what goes on during an abduction and the implants, I'm going to show you the last case that I did. We've done now 16 surgeries, and at 16 surgeries, we have removed 17 objects, all of which are scientifically interesting. But I'm going to concentrate on the last one, which we did. Now, this individual, as you will see on the screen, had a mark on his arm, which was visible only in the ultraviolet light range. He did not know this mark was there. We don't know how long it has been there, but is symbolic of something. We've seen marks like this before, sometimes on people's bodies and sometimes elsewhere. There is a tremendous amount of physical evidence that it relates to this phenomena. And anyone who asks, where is the physical evidence? It's here. So now I'm here to tell you about it and to talk about it. Next. Now, before any surgery is done on these individuals, we check them over with certain instrumentation. We look for radioactivity. We look for magnetic emissions coming out of the area. This is an instrument in which we're looking for radioactive areas in the body in relation to where the implant is. And in this case, we're not finding any. Next. Now, this is a plain and simple stud finder as you would get in any hardware store. If you put it up to a wall, it can locate an area where there's metal or whether there's a wood board behind. You know, when you want to put up a picture or something like that, you don't want it to fall off, so you look for a place to hang it on a solid board. Now, this also detects metal. And as you can see, when the arrow comes together and it points towards the object, that means that it's detecting metal below the surface of the skin. Next. Now, this is a meter which is called a Gauss meter, and this is the meter that measures electromagnetic fields. These fields vary in strength from 6 to 10, what we call milligauss. This is a very potent electromagnetic field. Jaime was there with a television camera, and we used this instrument with a professional television camera, and it was the whole television camera itself was putting out about 3 milligauss. This is putting out 6 to 10, a very small object, not more than 3 to 6 millimeters in length and about as big around as a pencil lead. Next. This is a radio frequency detector. It has an antenna, and we found that some of these objects will actually put out a radio frequency. One of these radio frequencies we were able to track through a classified document from the Federal Communications Commission, and we found out that this was a fixed or mobile deep space communication frequency. Next. Here's an X-ray, and it shows the object in the body. That's the bright mark. We usually find these fairly superficial, but near a bone. And we believe that when they put these in, they want to do it in large numbers, so they're not going to put them deep somewhere in your abdomen or your chest or maybe in the head. They want to get them in quickly and get on with what they're doing. Next. Now, this is the operating area that we use, operating room, and we use an instrument which is called a C-arm, and that allows us to actually look at the object internally while we're removing it. And sometimes we find that when we insert an instrument into this area and try and remove the object actually moves out of the way. Now, there is no known science that we have on this earth in which that will happen, believe me. Now, here you can actually see some of the footage of the surgery going on. If there's anything that bothers you in the seat in front of you, you will find a paper bag. Now, the object has been removed. Once the object is removed, we take some blood from the individual prior to the time that we've done the surgery, and we put it in a centrifuge. We spin it down, and we take off the liquid, which is the blood serum. And then the object is placed in that serum, and the container is sealed, only to be opened again by a qualified laboratory. And we have used world-known laboratories such as Los Alamos National Labs, York University in Canada, University of Toronto, private laboratories, and a host of others. It's a very expensive proposition. We do not charge 1 penny to anybody for any of this work. I have written 7 books on this. I've been in 42 countries about the world. I've discussed this. I've discussed this with parents and grandparents. There is something going on which is related, I believe, to these objects and to the abduction phenomena in general, and that is the human situation is changing. We are in an era of the new human. Any folks that are sitting here who have children or grandchildren, listen to what they have to say. You will be amazed. These are new children. These are a new human being. Now, when we remove the object, one of the things that we're interested in is to what it looks like on the outside first, before we get into looking at the inside. So we put it under magnification with a microscope, and we look at it, and it shows some very interesting things. Now, there is both biology and metallurgy that concerns these objects. And as we go along here, we'll find some biological abnormalities that doesn't really exist in the medical field. In the first place, as you know, if you get something internal in your body, even something that's transplanted, such as a heart or a kidney, or you get a sliver or a piece of metal, the body wants to react to it, reject it. There is absolutely no rejection in any of these objects. There is no scar. There is no visible portal of entry. How do they get in there? We're dealing with a science that's far advanced, extremely advanced. Now, we found in what you're seeing on the screen is some magnification of an object where we're seeing little droplets, and these are droplets of oil. And when my colleague and researcher, Dr. Colburn, will come up and he'll explain some of the details of that to you, and he can do it better than I can. But this is only, again, another tip of another iceberg. And we're going to show you how we know that these objects are extraterrestrial. So at this time, I'd like to have my good friend, Dr. Colburn, come up and explain the details, the minute details of the metallurgy, and then I will sum up with a few words when he's done. Steve.